sick.
We missed that first segment with John.
Fine. We'll just have to do it the old way. That sucks.
Nah, it's going now. You'll be good. Yeah, it's Ajay's birthday today. So
we can cut out the first segment with John.
If you see Ajay, tell him happy birthday.
Tell him he's great.
At Ajay Salvi.
AJAYSALVY. And I want you to tell me I'm great, because I feel like I'm great. And Eric doesn't tell me enough.
Utah State football practices are underway.
Yes.
We've been talking about linebackers.
Yes.
Great player in the middle that is just an outstanding, instinctful player, David Woodward. Our friend Al Lewis got a chance to catch up with David just the other day after practice. Here's what David Woodward has to say about how things are progressing so far for Utah State football.
To the media day last week because they called that meeting and cut others short. So, just what was it like to put on pads for the first time today? Did practice change, Dave?
I think it was a little more higher tempo, getting full pads on for the first time and being able to actually full tackle instead of thud.
Mm-hmm. So, does it get everybody's juices going a little bit more, you think, as a player to say, okay, we're finally putting on the full uniform?
Yeah, definitely everyone gets a little more excited for practice. The first couple of days are just acclimation with just helmets, and then you finally get the pads on, and that's why everyone plays football, to hit.
Well, you are so efficient at how you play, David. Practice must be really important to you. I mean, for somebody who gets all the details right, can you describe what practice is really like? I mean, a lot of people think you played football a lot the last couple of years. Maybe you don't need to do. You hear these guys in the NFL are saying, okay, I don't need to play exhibition games, or I don't need to practice much, or whatever. What do you have to say about that?
I think practice is important because you definitely play how you practice. I learned that last year before the season. When you practice good and you make plays during practice, you'll most likely end up making those the same ones in the game. So you can really tell what you're going to do throughout practice, projecting towards the game. So I think practice is definitely almost more important.
I talked to you last year before the bowl game, and you'd just been named an All-American and different things, and what an honor that was. Do you ever get a chance to have that sink in a little bit and think of, wow, in 2 years this is what's happened to me in college football?
I think just kind of a little bit, but it still hasn't really sunk in that much. Those awards are cool and everything, but I think just how we do as a team is a little more important.
And you want to continue to get better. You don't want to rest on the laurels of that too, I guess.
Yeah, definitely want to improve and not just be satisfied when you get any type of award or anything. Definitely want to keep getting better and be one of the top players in the nation.
I read the one stat, somebody in pro football found out you only missed like 6 or 8 tackles or 4 or whatever it was last year, about as efficient as everybody. As many plays as you're in on, that's amazing that would happen. I mean, and now you're probably saying, well, I missed 4, I missed 6. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely something I've done my whole life, is just be a good tackler and be an efficient tackler, not always going for the big hit or any crazy type of play like that, but just making sure I'm efficient with every single play I'm in and making sure I get the tackle.
Is it any different? I mean, they're talking about 4-man line, and we played some 4-man type line last year, but is it any different with what they're planning on doing defensively this year in front of you?
It's definitely a little different than last year. It's more gap schemes, so everyone kind of has their own gap instead of last year where we just flow over the top. So that's kind of the biggest difference, but we're definitely doing some of the stuff we did last year also, so it'll be a good mix-up.
Does it open more opportunities for you to make plays with this kind of defense, or what?
Some of the different fronts we have definitely do, but I think it mostly just shuts down the run even more, having everyone have their own separate gap and making it so the D-line can make a little more plays than they did last year.
David, I'm talking to you about linebackers to kind of give us a rundown on that unit. Tell me about some of the other guys at that position, because I know that's one thing the coach wanted to see, is another guy or two to be able to play alongside you.
Definitely Kevin Metzenheimer's been playing good. Eric Munoz, Noah. They've definitely been progressing on throughout camp, and I'm excited to see what they can end up doing.
Mm-hmm. And then defensive line, I mean, if those guys get healthy up front, there's some really big-time player-maker type guys up there, too.
Yeah, we got a lot of older guys on the D-line, which I'm excited for. Pretty much the same exact D-line as last year, so as long as they stay healthy, it'll be a pretty good season.
New coach, who's, I guess, the defense coordinator is your coach, too, at the position. What's Justin Enna like?
Very energetic, and just he knows what he's doing. He's really smart, played in the NFL for a little bit. just someone who can teach you a lot of things. So I'm definitely trying to soak up as much as I can.
Okay. You excited about this year as much as how it went last year? You still didn't get the championship, and that's what I know you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely makes me a little more excited for this season, knowing that we were only one game away last year and just seeing all the talent we have this year. I know we can get there.
Okay. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Al. Al Lewis and David Woodward.
That's a great interview, too.
I thought it was really interesting, really insightful about how David kind of sees things, how much influence he gives credit to that defensive line and that defensive front. He talked about the other linebackers pretty much like how we did the first segment. The ones to watch for, the ones that are doing well so far in camp, Kevin Metzenheimer, Eric Munoz, Noah Young. Those are the guys that really seem to be doing well right now in practice. So how that core still develops and what that second unit looks like, who's your Mike, and who's your the other positions that they're going to be running, how they're going to move them around or not. I think it's still being worked on a little bit, but I still think that's going to be a good crew, and by and large because of David Woodward.
Yeah, it really is, and there's gonna be a lot of responsibility on him the way the defense is built. But again, again that's Anderson and Enna are smart coaches, and if they feel like he's instinctful and smart enough to be able to handle himself in that role, then he's actually going to be okay. And you know what? He might even be more versatile and better than he was last year because of this position.
That's true. In fact, he said that the way that this defense is set up and the way that if you caught that, the way that the players that are there, he thinks that they'll be even better at stopping the run this year than they were a year ago.
The other thing I kind of think about is when we talked to when Coach Anderson, and when I talked to Coach Enna about David, look, they love every bit of him, of what he's on the field. The instinct, the ability to tackle, make plays, be smart, mentally. The one thing they always are just begging him, and I mean begging him to improve upon, is to be a vocal leader. They know he can be a leader on the field by the way he plays. They want him to actually be talking. When things are going south, you need one guy to step up. Last year, you had several. John Trell Rockmore, Gage Ferguson. Give me somebody else, man. Another safety, and I can't even remember his name anymore. It's been that long. But, I mean, they had so much leadership in that defensive side where David didn't have to worry about really raising his voice. Now, they're going to look at Tipa. They're going to look at David, especially Woodward, and they're going to want him to be more vocal. And both Enna and Anderson said he's not even close in that regard. He needs to. They said he must be better here in fall camp about being more vocal. They're begging him for that.
Right, because when it's a student-led or student-athlete-led team, when there's great student athletes who lead, then that you get a lot of great players that follow and step up their game.
Would absolutely agree.
When it's just the coaches barking at you all day, that can get tiring and that can get grating. But when it's your own teammates, the guy you're standing next to, that's like, come on, you got to pull the weight here. Got to make things happen. It creates a very different team, and we've seen that. Utah State has had some great player-led teams in the past. They've had some teams that aren't, and that's hard because then the coaches can only do so much as they're trying to pull everybody along. So David Woodward, that's something where maybe one of his weaknesses, one of his challenges, is to grow into that more vocal leader.
Yep.
You don't need to have a big mouth.
No.
But you need to hold your teammates accountable.
And when things aren't right, look, not everything is going to be perfect. Not everything is going to be, roses and everything. When you go to LSU and you're in Death Valley in a night game and you're against undefeated, which they probably will be or should be, undefeated Tigers, or when you're playing Boise State for a spot in the Mountain West Championship, when you're playing, season opener on the road at Wake Forest, when you're playing Fresno State at Fresno State, you're going to need one guy. I mean, on the offensive side is Jordan Love. On the defensive side, they need somebody to look to, and it's going to have to be Woodward. And he's going to have to be the one to gather them and say, hey, look, we're fine. We got to get our crap together. Find it right now. Just give some kind of a motivational 3-second pep talk. Make sure everybody's checked and locked in, and then go get it again. I mean, just to reset themselves. And David's going to have to be that guy. And they said, like I said, they talking to Coach Enna and even a little bit of Coach Anderson, a couple other coaches, they said he's not where he should be vocally, where they want more of him.
Coming up next, we'll hear from Gary Anderson. And this was as of a day or two ago where he made these comments. So things have changed maybe slightly since he said this, but we'll get his comments about what he's observing so far in fall camp. Also, our Pick 6 coming up, and a really interesting story about a baseball game, a really unique venue, very cool for something that's being planned for the future. We'll get into that next on the Full Court Press here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
It's the Full Court Press, weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Eric Frandsen, Ajay Salvesen. It's Ajay's birthday, everybody. Happy birthday, Ajay.
Dude, we're done. It's no one cares anymore.
No, there's still
all the tweets have came through.
6.5 hours ish.
All the tweets have came through. Everyone's tweeted at me that want to tweet at me.
They're still coming. Hey, did you know you share a birthday with Anthony Rizzo?
Well, no one cares because I'm sharing a birthday with JC of NSYNC.
Whoa.
Yeah, no one cares about Anthony Rizzo.
He hit an RBI double today.
Well, glad he's doing something right this season, so I was starting to wonder.
All right, Utah State football fall camp report. Gary Anderson talking a little bit about this Utah State football team. Al Lewis caught up with him the other day after practice and some of his observations about how things are going so far for Utah State.
I have to give you grief if I get a chance.
Oh, that's fine. Oh, I need grief. Give me a read a little bit 5 days into practice of how things are looking.
There's been give and take on both sides, which has been good. I would say, Saturday, the offense probably had the upper hand. We came back on Monday. The defense had the upper hand. We came back today, and it was really back and forth. So, that's what teams that have a potential to be good do. So it was great to see the offense bounce back today. We kept score for the first time because we had pads on as far as our own little scoring system. And at the end of regulation, it was tied, so we went for a 2-point conversion to win it, and the offense made a play on the 2-point play for the win. So, but it was good to see the pads on today. But throughout the week, I think the special teams has been fantastic. The kids put a high precedence on, executing at a high level there and working hard in special teams. The kicking game has gone very well, which I expect those kickers, the snappers, and holders to do, and they expect the same out of themselves, and they've done a nice job. So it's been a successful 5 days. We stayed healthy for the most part, which is awesome, especially after a big physical day like today. So now we'll back off a little bit. It's awesome to have the indoor this time of year, right? We went outside twice and extremely hot, which we all know, and that turf is extremely hot. So to be able to go out there is good a couple times, but we're able to get back in here for today. And as we all know, it's a lot different inside here. So thank goodness we have this indoor with. This university has given us some great facilities, and we can take advantage of them in days like today.
With special teams, you bring that up. If guys the players on this team know that you've got a great kicker, a good punter, great return guy. Does that make them, do you think, in their roles on special teams, want to even be better, knowing that they've got somebody who can really do something special that's doing something behind them?
Yes, I would agree with that. It's probably like having a really good quarterback or an excellent pass rusher or whatever. It should make that side of the ball a little bit better. But I would say this, that in my opinion, that special team stuff all starts with Coach Collins. And I believe in putting a high precedence on there. He believes in putting a high care factor into special teams, and the way the meetings are ran, the way the practices are set up, the way he handles the coaches and get them individually prepared for the meetings it's big time, which we expect it to be. But I think he's special when it comes to coaching the special teams and the way he handles the kids and keeps them interested and keeps them understanding, and their care factor is off the charts. And again, that starts with Coach Collins. He does a great job.
Guys seem to have really embraced special teams roles, even if it's their only chance to get on the field the last couple of years. We've got guys who really do a great job in those areas, and that seems to be a culture that started here.
No doubt. I think it's a big deal here. They know they can change the game, and you can talk all you want as a coach about being it's a third of the game, it's this and that and all the stuff that comes with it. But if the kids aren't invested in it, it really doesn't matter. And I think it starts with our captains. I think it starts, Jordan Love. Special teams are really important to him. It matters to him. So all the way through the football team, it's infectious. When we get to our special teams periods, really the whole team's involved, and I think that also helps. It's not just part of the team's doing it most of the time, especially early. The whole football team is doing those drills. They're all going to do a tackling circuit. They're all going to be involved, even the offensive linemen. So I think that puts the accountability back on the kids, and I think it also makes them understand that we will win games and change games with special teams.
You just mentioned O-line is 5 practices, and what you saw in the spring. Are you starting to feel more like you know what's going on among the group there?
Today was by far their best day, definitely. And, when you install in different ways within the offense, but this offense gets installed, fairly quickly. And so they went back to the beginning of the install today, and you could just feel a comfort zone. But, we ran the football a lot today, and, that was by design. And they were physical on both sides of the line of scrimmage. As an offensive lineman, half the battle sometimes is making sure you know where you're going, and you're going to line up next to the guy, and he's a tough guy, and he's going to battle like crazy for you. And then you got good backs, and when you have backs that make cuts, make big plays, again, just like you mentioned within the special teams and the kickers, it becomes infectious for an offensive line. If we just give that guy just a crease, he can do special things for us. So,
Mr. Warren showed that a little bit.
He did. Yeah, Jalen had a very, very nice practice, and that's what we expect him to be able to do. That's why we brought him here, and we tell those transfers all the time, whether they're coming out of the portal transfers or they're JC transfers, they're expected to come in and compete, and they'll be given the opportunity. And Jalen took advantage of that today, which was awesome to see.
So then you back off a little bit, and then is this the first scrimmage you have at the end of this week? Is that your biggest scrimmage that you would have of the preseason?
Yeah, it'll be the biggest scrimmage we'll have of the preseason. We're still a couple weeks out when we get to that point, obviously, but where we are on offense, where we are on defense, I think we're going to go tomorrow. It's Wednesday, hard, but not tackle, not full pads. And Thursday, we're actually going to just walk through a couple times. I'm going to go over to the pool and get into the pool a little bit, not to have fun at the pool, but to rehab at the pool and do some stuff over at our pool here up at the university. And then Friday we'll come back and get after it a little bit in the morning, and we'll switch from the afternoon practice schedule to the morning practice schedule on Friday and have a nice little practice, and then get up Saturday morning and really get after it. And that's a big day. Now we will scrimmage at different times, and then obviously Aggie Fun Day comes at us, but that this will be a big one coming at us on Saturday.
Because that's where you start to really sift out probably even maybe seconds behind firsts and things like that with you.
No doubt. Yeah, we try to get as many reps as we can with as many young men as we can early on in camp. And our practices are structured not to be out here for a long time, so it's hard to get everybody reps, but we'll get everybody reps in the scrimmage, and they all deserve to get some reps in the scrimmage. And then you got to start honing in on your 74 travel kids, and potentially 78 maybe as we go to Wake Forest. But you got to hone in on those guys and get them reps after that first scrimmage.
Okay.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Al. Very insightful stuff from Gary Anderson. Talking about specific players, how things are developing, how they're running practices. But you're right. He talks about David Woodward, wants him to be more vocal.
Yeah, and he's got to be like we've already talked about it. He's got to be able to speak up when they need a leader, and they're going to need a leader at times. So,
an interesting discussion too about special teams, about how Coach Collins is really getting them fired up, and
he does.
He's a guy that'll get you fired up.
Remember last year, Matt Wells didn't have a special teams coordinator. It's kind of weird, and I think there was some miscommunication about certain times when they were on special teams, what they were doing.
There were some times where Gary didn't have a special teams coordinator.
Also, he did the same thing too at times. I didn't know that.
And we would go into the meetings, the pre-game meetings with him, and so who's responsible for this? Who's doing this? Oh, well, we all kind of chip in. Well, who does this? Well, that guy kind of helps on that. And you could tell when the games were played that there wasn't a lot of consistency.
Yeah,
and then things got a lot better when Coach Tomberdall showed up.
Of course.
Matt Wells.
Yeah. And Tomberdall was a mad genius when it came to freaking special teams. Absolutely. Could not agree more.
All right, coming up next here on the Full Court Press, our pick 6 for the week. The most exciting time of the week. And we'll see if things change. If the fortunes change for Ajay because it's his birthday.
Really quickly, we need to make a correction to Mr. Jon Oglesby. And I need to apologize to the highest amount. But he's actually the assistant director, not the executive director. He's the assistant to the regional manager. And he had forwarded me through a text message, and he's like, I was going to cut you off and let you know, but I want to show you up on air. And I'm like, Mr. Oglesby, Dude, if I'm wrong, you can call me out. So, again, he's the assistant director, but thank you so much, Mr. Oglesby, for your time. And now I feel like
really
crap.
Insightful.
You ruined my birthday.
First hour podcast is already available.
It's already been posted.
Yeah, you worked your magic on your birthday and made it happen. All right, pick 6 coming up next here on the Full Court Press, and a really cool story about Major League Baseball. We'll discuss it next on the Full Court Press, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
It doesn't matter who you root for. The Full Court Press has all the high school sports covered. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Okay, I think I've had enough.
Call. I was about to say that was my favorite one until I just kept going, and then you ruined it for me.
Doesn't stop. It just keeps
You just
going.
can't give it up, can you?
Happy birthday, Ajay. I have to say, it's great that you had a birthday because people have been bringing in donuts.
Oh my gosh!
Cupcakes.
Yeah, what? You brought me a Dr. Pepper that's like bigger than me, and jerky. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do with all this food.
And a gift certificate to a restaurant that is still open.
Which I appreciate this time. There better be some money on that card, though. Well, I mean, yes, you gave me a
piece
card
of
this time to a
paper.
restaurant that's open, but no money on the card.
Hey, let's get into our pick 6 to wrap up the hour.
Oh crap! We got 2 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
You got yours ready?
Yeah, I do.
All right, I'll let you go first. Even though I won last week, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, is that 5 weeks in a row? By the way.
It's a long streak.
It's about. All right. The Patriots play the Lions tonight. In fact, they are already underway.
Underway, yeah.
And preseason football is here. New England by 7.5 over under.
Patriots by 7.5.
Over Detroit. At Detroit.
I'll take over.
I will take the. I'll take the over. Yeah, me too. Let's see. Drew Brees, New Orleans hosts Minnesota on Friday, tomorrow night. Does Drew Brees throw for 75.5 yards?
I'll take the over.
I'll take the under.
Okay.
And Los Angeles at Oakland, does Todd Gurley have 52.5 rushing yards, over under?
52.5?
Yeah.
I'm going to say over.
I'm going to say under.
Okay.
Okay.
Speaking of the Rams and the Raiders.
Yes.
Raiders by 4.5.
Ooh, good line. Under.
Okay, I'm going to take the over. Will Drew Brees throw a touchdown?
Yes.
I'm going to say no. And then the Braves are at the Marlins this
I
weekend.
hate this stuff.
Braves by 2.5.
Yes.
So over or
Over.
under?
Sorry, over. Sorry.
I'm going to take the under.
Really? Man, you do feel bad for me not winning a lot. I guess you're just like sympathy votes here.
So
Y'all, you taking the Marlins over the Braves?
the Patriots versus the Lions. Patriots by 7.5.
This
We'll
is
both
getting
be over.
embarrassing.
Drew Brees, 75.5 yards. I said over. You said under. Todd Gurley will rush for 52.5 yards. I said over. You said under. Raiders by 4.5. You took the under. I took the over. Drew Brees will throw for a touchdown, yes or no. I said no. You said yes. And then the Braves at the Marlins. You took the over on the Braves by 2.5. I went under.
I swear, now you're just trying to purposely lose.
Happy birthday, Ajay.
All right, can
Hope
we
you
move
have
on
it-
with life?
I hope you have a good night. And
Yes.
more people hit you up on Twitter at Ajay Salvi.
Stop already.